to thrive and be whole. My name is Ayana, and I am your health and wellness coach. I'm so excited to be that you clicked on my video and that you found my page. I'm so excited that you came to check this out. Today, we're talking about a really exciting topic. I love this topic because I have a lot of personal experience in this, but this is how to have a healthy argument and disagree with class, okay? Because let's just get right into it, shall we? We all have disagreements and arguments in life, okay? They are totally unavoidable. And in fact, though, while we try to avoid them, they actually are healthy. Okay, huh? You're like, how is that possible? Yes, disagreements are healthy when done in a healthy way. And not all the time, of course, but they really are a sign that you're standing up for yourself and what you believe in. So if you never disagree or have an argument with anybody, it really could be a sign that you're keeping everything in and that you don't speak up for yourself. And that's really a worse problem in the long run. Okay, because what can happen with that is over time, you'll feel like your voice isn't being heard and you just keep sitting on your feelings over and over again. It makes you feel like you're not important, and that can negatively impact your self-esteem. So what we want to do instead is just recognize that when you leave things unsaid, it can also create long-term resentment in relationships to where you start to look at loved ones, friends, and family members, coworkers with a lot of anger and ire. And they just really make you upset. Like every time you see them, you just get pissed. But a lot of that could be because you're leaving things unsaid. So when something bothers you in the moment, instead of speaking about it and communicating effectively about it, you just sit on your feelings instead, okay? And we don't want that because eventually what could happen is one day you could blow, okay? So whether you're arguing with a friend, a family member, a loved one, or a coworker, learning how to disagree and argue with class is really essential. It can keep all of these valuable relationships together, and it can also help you grow and improve. Okay, so with that said, these are my tips for how to do just that, how to have a disagreement and agree so that you preserve your friendship at the end of it. So my first tip on this is to really be sorry for what you did, okay? That's in capital letters. Really be sorry for what you did, okay? Now, I personally struggle with this one. And whenever I'm in an argument, especially when I just know that I'm right, okay, I'm right, okay, all the time if you ask my husband. But it's hard for me to own my part of it. So I understand, I get it, okay? But I'm learning that in all situations, you have to own what you did, okay? Don't defend all the time. Own what you did, okay? Now, of course, does this mean that you don't have a valid point? Of course not, okay? We know that in about like 90% of disagreements or arguments, that usually both sides have valid points, okay? But you need to be genuinely remorseful for your part of it, for what you did, okay? This is extremely hard to do when you're in the middle of an argument. So sometimes it calls on you to reflect at the end. But if you're in that heated moment and you are able to just pause and breathe and take a breath and slow down, ask yourself, okay, what did I do here? What can I take ownership of here? Okay? Or you can ask yourself at the end of that argument and really be real with yourself. Okay? Don't focus exclusively on what the other person did. Okay? Then, once you are able to calm that process down and think about what you did, at a later time in the conversation with the person, you can then also focus on what they did to bother you. Okay? But that's tip number one. Take ownership of your part in it. Here's tip number two. Watch your language. Use but in a different way. Okay? So have you ever been in a disagreement with someone and they just keep saying but over and over and over and over again? Now, I did just last week. Okay? I was on the phone with a customer service representative from my car insurance company, and she actually made a mistake. But instead of apologizing for it, she just kept defending herself and she was using but over and over and over again. Oh, I hear you, but I understand, but it was driving me crazy. She just couldn't take responsibility and she couldn't resist saying but over and over again. Now, it just, for me as a client, it just felt like she kept defending herself and invalidating my feelings. Okay. Now, I've also been guilty of this too. My husband and I will disagree about something, and there's usually validity on both sides. But I've learned from analyzing past disagreements with him that if I just reframe where I place the word but, the whole message comes out a lot differently. Okay, so here's an example. Here in version 1, I'm going to give you what I might say in an argument. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 versions of what I might say in an argument, and I want you to see if you can spot the difference. Version 1. Oh, wow, I'm so sorry. Okay, but I was just trying to help. And if you hadn't done X, then I wouldn't have done Y. Okay, that's version 1. Here's version 2. I'm really sorry. I hear you. You're right. Okay? I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was trying to help. But I still did X, and I'm so sorry. Do you see the difference? In the first instance, when you end your point on justification and excuses, it communicates to the other person that what's most important to you is you defending yourself and your actions, okay? Not the apology. The other person now feels like they have to respond to your excuses and your justification. So when you say, if you hadn't done X, I wouldn't have done Y. Now they're like, but I did X because da, da, da. And you see, it creates more chaos, and it turns into a full-blown argument. Now, in the second example, second version, I ended on an apology. Now, this communicates to the other person that I'm emphasizing my apology and that I'm really taking responsibility for my actions and that I really understand and am owning up to my mistake. Now, I still did put a little bit of explanation in there. I was trying to help. I thought I was well-intentioned, but I made sure that I ended on how sorry I was. Okay? Now, when you do version 2, the other person will respond to you differently as well. They will be more receptive to hearing your points later on, okay? But in the first example, you get caught up in a negative spiral and it turns into a tornado. It's really, really tempting to just defend ourselves all the time. Okay, I know, but let's stop the chaos before it begins. To be aware of the setting. Okay, so this is hugely, hugely important. There's a time and a place for having deep conversations or disagreements or arguments, if you can control it. Now, think about this when you want to have a deep conversation or you know that you're getting ready to have a disagreement with someone. Think about the setting. When are you at your most patient? When is the other person at their most patient? When is the best time of day for you to have a conversation? When is the best time of day for the other person to have a deep conversation? So for example, I am at my best in the morning. I'm a morning person. I wake up chipper. That's when I do the majority of the work on my business. That's when I would be at my most patient. That's when I'm at my best with my children. My husband, on the other hand, not a morning person at all, okay? He's asleep right now. So the key is to understand every time that I've tried to have a deep conversation with him or to disagree with something and it's early in the morning, his response is not as good as when I catch him later in the day, and vice versa. I know that in the evening, if he tries to come at me with a deep conversation, my patience is way lower than it is earlier in the day. So a good sweet spot for us is usually early to mid-afternoon. Like right after work would be the sweet spot for maybe about an hour. And then I'd start to lose my chipperness and ability to be patient. So recognize when are your trigger points for you too, okay? And then also recognize the times in your life that are most primed for stress. These are what we call the transitional times in life. So if you have a new job or there's a new baby, ding, 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 or if there's, a new situation or set of circumstances, or you got someone just lost someone in the family, people are grieving, anything that's a transitional time period in life might be a harder time to have a deep conversation like this. So just be aware before you go into the conversation what the setting is like so you can tread carefully. You can choose your words a little more carefully too. self-aware. Now, be patient with yourself, okay? Because all of this takes time and practice to nail down. Now, I have these tips in my head, but I'm not always good at them. I definitely lose patience from time to time. I'm a human being, and so are you. So just remember the next time that you get into a disagreement with someone, that you take a pause at the end of that interaction to really see how you feel. Replay the scene in your head and be honest with yourself about when you got triggered and how you really responded to the other person. Did you really hear them out? Were you listening to their points or just waiting for your turn to defend yourself? And if you realize you could have done things differently, let the other person know. It's never too late to go back and make amends for your part. Remember, your part of the situation, okay? It's never too late to go back and acknowledge if you weren't listening well enough or if you were being one-sided, okay? And the other thing, too, if you tried to avoid an argument or disagreement, also analyze that as well, too. Why did you walk away from it instead of using that as an opportunity to express yourself, okay? That'll help you going forward for future disagreements. Here's my fifth tip, okay? Be the change you wish to see, okay? This is a phrase that gets overused a lot, but it really is real and it's true. You don't have to wait for someone else's behavior to change or their attitude to change in order for you to change. In fact, you shouldn't, okay? You have the power. You can change your own mindset. You can still grow and blossom even if those around you are not, okay? And you would be surprised at what happens when you change your approach. You'll see how much more peace you bring to your life when others see and react to you differently. Okay, it's amazing. It's life-changing. Don't wait for other people around you to change. You be the change, okay? You can do it. So with that, I hope you really took these tips to heart, and I hope that you learned something valuable. The last thing I want to leave you with is where you can learn more about me. My website is below. It's called thriveandbewhole.com. You can book me for individual coaching or for speaking or trainings on a variety of different self-care issues. Check out the website. There's so much information there. I also put weekly blog posts. Also, I've included my latest blog post, which is all about why it's so important to own your mistakes. Okay, so this goes hand in hand with what we're talking about here today. And then finally, if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get my free gift, which is called How to Handle Conflict Like the Boss That You Are. It's an awesome ebook that breaks it down in 7 pages about how you can handle conflict and why you should handle conflict with more peace, okay? In any setting. And it even gives you a script. It's pretty awesome. Now, remember, I'm a high school teacher, middle school teacher. I have a lot of experience with conflict, so check me out on that, okay? Thank you so much once again for checking out my video. Bye.